Today, I was contacted by Josh Peterson, and he asked me a very interesting question. And I wanted to think about it, plus I was at work. And so I was like, well, when I get home, I want to take a look at it and address the question then. So I've had some time to think about it, and I'm getting ready to share with you. What if instead of logic puzzles, candidates receive a script with 50 to 100 lines of code to properly document? Do you think this change in a technical interview would improve engineering teams better, equally, worse than resources wasted to effectively pay for one job twice over? What are your thoughts on the net positive or negative engagement for developers and teams in either case? I thought this was very interesting because the interview process is one of the things that, it's kind of dreadful, like scary sometimes, because there are many types of interviews. Like, I've been on interviews where the interviewers were so technology focused, and when I answered all these questions about inheritance and design patterns, none of it existed. I'm like, so why did y'all ask me those questions? So sometimes, there's different environments where people just like, well, let's Google it. We'll ask these questions. And judging you by a standard that is not implemented where you work at. I hate those, by the way. I had a coworker of mine who was a colleague of mine who went on an interview, and he was asked questions about genetic algorithms to write an algorithm for the knapsack problem. Like, I get it, but are you asking this just for fun? Like, it can be sometimes unfair, some of the questions you're asked, and I'm definitely horrible at academic answers. Like, if you ask me inheritance, if I don't take time and go over all that stuff, I will start talking more about implementation than the definition of inheritance. I suffer with that. I'm writing code in my mind all the time. It doesn't, to my mind, it doesn't seem enough just to repeat something I read on a piece of paper, but no, I can get in deeply and talk about inheritance and polymorphism and all those different things. Anyway, to get to Josh's question, I think there's some pros to giving a developer a bunch of code and having them document and at least say what's going on. Not necessarily having it documented, but to sit there with the interviewer and go through, hey, what do you think is going on here? What do you think is going on there? So I think those can be very, very effective as far as when the person doesn't know what they're going to get, and then you open up some code and you say, just tell me what you see going on here. And then you could start breaking it down and talking about what's going on. I think that just shows you how that creates a little bit of confidence. Like, you could answer all these questions, but can you really understand our code base, however we have it set up? So I think that creates more confidence about a developer when you're actually showing them code that you implement as part of your coding standards. And to see them nail it increases confidence. So I do think it has that as a benefit, and it's a good like weeding out the weak type of thing. Like, if you cannot follow this code, because that's what we do most of the time. We rarely get to build products from scratch. We're going to come into a company with some existing code, a plan to do something, and you're going to be taking on the task of whatever that plan is, whether you agree or not, but that's the job. And so if the person can't follow the code, you can just like kind of wrap it up and say, well, thank you. We'll have HR contact you. We have some more candidates to talk to. And well, thanks for visiting today. You have any questions for us? When they hit you with that, that's what that's for. One of my cons about this methodology, I don't think it should be the lone, like, determining factor. Like, I don't think it's credible enough to say, okay, this guy nailed it and he's got the job. I don't think that's enough. I think some of the academic stuff has to be play in there, because with good coding practices, some of this code is self-explanatory. And even if you're a sucky dev, looking at good code, you can just tell what's going on by naming of functions and all that stuff. Like, you can fake it until you make it type of deal. So that's why I don't think it covers enough. It doesn't guarantee you anything. So my final thoughts on it is, it should be part of the interviewing process. I wish it was there more, to be kind of mostly a gatekeeper. I think it's good to do stuff like that if you're looking mainly for, like, contract people for like 90 days. Can you knock this plan out? Hey, take a look at this code, tell me what you're doing. You know, someone who is gonna have to hit the ground running, you want them to see code like this. Like, here, take a look at this, tell us what's going on. Now, okay, take a look at this, tell us what's going on. I think that really builds your confidence with the contractor. And that person also knows, like, oh, okay, is this what I'm coming into? I see your coding style. Okay. But because some code is so well written and named, methods and classes are named correctly, it's kind of like cheating in a sense. So you can fake through it. And so that's why I wouldn't make that the only reason. Just, there's good parts to it. Someone being a good fit on your team has more to do with attitude than coding ability. Like, you can tolerate working with someone who has a good attitude and is somewhat competent and close, but not quite there. If they have a good attitude and aggressive about trying to get it right, and asking questions when they need to, and not spinning their wheels for hours and just knocking out the task and going real hard. If you're a go-getter too, you're going to appreciate that, So I think making a team effective, or having a developer having a positive engagement in the building of a technical team has more to do with attitude and psychology than it has to do with the person actually being a good coder. You can work with a bunch of jokesters and get a lot of things done. You can work with a bunch of a-holes and get a lot of things done, because ultimately you're trying to achieve a goal. And I don't know which one I prefer. I don't know if I like working with a bunch of jokesters and trying to get things done, or a bunch of a-holes and still getting things done. You just learn to be flexible. Sometimes you just have to be happy with, hey, I got my idea out there, but we don't have to go with that, So, those are my thoughts on it. Great question, Josh. And I just wanted to introduce you to my Nerd House Geeks channel on YouTube. And I have other videos out there dealing with other topics, of course. And just stop on by and check me out, subscribe to my channel, and I try to stay busy. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching my video. Like and subscribe to my channel if you want to. I appreciate it. And I'll share as much as I can about surviving in IT.